Hi, my name is Kyla. I work at Nancy Hayes Casting in San Francisco, and today we are going to talk about little changes that you can make in your auditions to better book the room and to stand out better amongst casting directors. So let's get into it. Number one, know your buyers. So this is going to apply whether you're auditioning for a commercial, for an industrial, for a film, for a pilot, whatever. You need to know what you're auditioning for. And this is going to go beyond just, I know the name of the project or I know the director. You have a chance to really learn what they are looking for by understanding their style. So we're going to use a commercial and we're going to use a pilot as our two examples here. So if you're auditioning for a commercial, you want to make sure that you have seen whatever the brand has made public. So if this is their first advertising campaign, you can at least look at their website and see what their color scheme is. Do they seem a little more like poppy and friendly, or do they seem a little more serious and intense? If they do have prior ad campaigns, you're going to get a pretty good idea of their sense of tone. Are they humorous, or do they like to be straightforward and informative? Whatever it is, that can contribute to your choices when you go in. Similarly, if we're heading over to the TV side of things, let's say you're auditioning for a pilot, so you don't have episodes to watch. It's a totally new show. Generally, you will be given some level of information. You'll either know the network, or ideally, you might know the showrunners or the writers, any creatives who are attached to it who might have prior credits. Now, this is why I always recommend to be very up to date on TV shows, because it's awesome if you've already seen some of the work that these creatives have already done. That way you completely understand their tone. So for instance, if I were casting a project from the creators of Veep, you could assume that it would be brash, it would be unapologetic, it would be biting, funny, brutal, vulgar, honest, and have some shocking poignancy hidden within it. Likely. However, if I were casting for the Big Bang Theory, something from the creators of the Big Bang Theory, and it's going to be on network television, you're not going to be able to drop the same level of F-bombs that you could on the Veep casting, likely, right? We're casting a totally different show. This is a network show. It has a lot more mass appeal to the general public, and it tends to be more sitcom formatted. So if we use those two examples, it's really good to understand the vibes of the creators, to understand what they're seeking to do so that you can match it better. Now, this is going to be the same with a bunch of networks. So like Netflix's flavor is different from Hulu's flavor, is different from Apple's flavor, is different from HBO's flavor, and then is obviously different from network and cable flavors. So the more that you can understand, okay, this is kind of the stuff Netflix buys. I'm sort of getting the vibe of what a Netflix show is versus, okay, I understand that HBO or Showtime, they like something a little bit grittier. Same with AMC. You can really begin to learn what these networks buy, what they like, and you have the opportunity then to make choices that are in the right zone, that tonally have the most information possible. This is also a really big chance. Oh no, the second bump in a row on that one. This is also a really big chance to read every piece of the script that you've been given. So maybe they've made sides public for more than just your role. You have a chance to do some detective work, get some more information. Obviously read the synopsis, obviously read everything that's your own stuff, but dive into as much content as you can possibly find. It'll help you understand the tone, it'll help you understand the buyers, it'll help you understand what they might be looking for. And then you need to bring you into that world. Number two, come with choices. So when we're talking about choices, I just want to blanket say that a choice needs to be in the appropriate sandbox of the world that we're creating. So if you're auditioning for a show that's on a network, you cannot get super vulgar, super edgy, super gritty. It's just not appropriate for network television. You need to understand your sandbox. However, if you're auditioning for something like an HBO show that already is established as being edgy or gritty, you have a lot more room to play around, to bring in some edgier choices. So whatever I'm talking about here, you still have to be world appropriate first. Okay, so when we're talking choices, you want to come in with at least two choices prepared. We may not see them both. Some other things may happen during the audition, but you do not want to be in a position where we say, okay, let's see this another way, and you don't have a preparation ready to go. So which one do you lead with? Well, there are kind of three ways to break down a script that I've found. The first is the most obvious way. So this is just, I read it, this is the way I would interpret it and the way I would do it. Boom, here we go. Number two takes a little bit more of a liberty with some things. Either it flips a moment on its ear to make it more subtle instead of loud, or it finds pieces of humanity throughout that might not otherwise be there. It's a chance to inject some autobiography into the work. It's a chance to really break down a script and inject some choices that might be unique to you. Option three is the out there approach. This is one where you just took the stage directions, you threw them out, you turned the entire preparation on its head, and you made it something totally its own while still being world appropriate, but you really freaking went for it. So generally, I recommend bringing in option two as your initial audition, but having option three in your back pocket ready to go. Option one generally is not going to be the strongest audition to bring into the room, but every once in a while we want the normal take, and every once in a while we might ask for that. But I would still recommend lead with two, have three ready to go. Now, when you're picking your two and your three, one of my biggest pieces of advice is to make sure that they are different. And this is always going to be a huge thing that I come back to in auditioning. If you are doing multiple takes, the takes have to be different. 2 takes is not a chance for us to see you do the same thing twice. It is a chance for you to show range, and it is a chance for you to indicate how directable you're going to be on set on the day. If they say, okay, let's try it, totally differently, are you able to go, yep, boss, got it, let's do it? Or do you need hand-holding? Or are you not even going to be able to deliver it? We need to see if that is something in your repertoire, and this is a chance for you to do it. So if we ask for 2 takes, or if you get a chance to submit 2 takes, be sure they're different. If you're in an in-person audition and you've brought in the middle of the road, the number 2 take, and it's kind of seeming like the audition is winding down, you have an opportunity to offer us an additional take. Don't take it personally. If we don't take it, we might not have time. But what you can do, if we've done a bit, you can go, hey, so I have another take that's a lot more out there. It's a lot more of a loose interpretation. Or you can be more specific, like, hey, I have a take where I really turned the sadness into anger, and I tried one that's a lot more blame focused, or whatever the difference is. You could, pitch it like that. And then it's on casting to see if we want to see that. Generally, if people tell me they have another take, I want to see it. And at the very least, I'll put it on tape. If it's wrong, if it's not the right fit at all, if it doesn't work, I can always delete the tape. But I like to see it, and I like to know what kind of range we're offering the client. Number 3, sell the location. This one's huge, whether you are doing an in-person casting or a self-tape. We need to believe that you know exactly what's going on in the imaginary space that you are occupying. So let's say it's a scene that takes place in a restaurant, and we've been told it's a crowded restaurant and you are having a face-to-face conversation that's a little awkward. You're discussing something that's sensitive information. We are looking for somebody who remembers and truly understands the truth of their setting. If they're in a crowded restaurant, this conversation needs to be private. It needs to be quiet and it needs to be close. And if somebody starts yelling, you need to look around and make sure that nobody heard that. So remember to sell your location. If you're in a crowded restaurant, you screaming is probably going to get the cops called on you. So you need to be location aware. The people who are pros, who steal auditions, are the people whose imaginations are so active throughout their process that they know exactly where they are. They know exactly where everything is. This is especially a big one if you're talking to multiple people in the scene. You need to know who they are, you need to know where they are, and you need to be able to lock in on them and truthfully talk to them. So no matter what, before you do your audition, get clear on what the room layout is, where you are, what the setting is, so that you can carry the truth of that into this very artificial and imaginary circumstance of having a conversation, in that place while you're actually having it, across from me with a camera. So the more that we see somebody who we can tell they know where they are, we can see in their imagination that they know exactly where everything is, the more we go, oh, this person's ready to play, this person is ready to go, and this person has put a lot of thought into the work that they brought in. Number 4, don't repeat a good idea. This one is a really big marker between amateurs and pros. So let's say you're bringing in 2 different takes. And in one of the takes, you had a moment that you really like that was kind of subtle. It's kind of surprising. You hadn't thought of doing it like that before. And you're proud of it. Leave it in this take. Don't bring it into your second take. Because if you leave a brilliant idea in one take and roll with your new ideas in the next take, it says to us that you're just an idea machine. It's not that you only have one way to be creative and are sticking to it. It says that you're ready to roll with whatever's given to you. And you're not attached to the one moment that was fantastic. You're willing to do whatever for the next one. Now, from a director's standpoint, we might say, hey, that moment was really good. Be sure to get it in the next one. Then do that. But what I'm saying is, we can tell if you are holding on to a moment because you're proud of it, because you thought it was really excellent, versus if you're willing to just roll with and play with whatever we ask for and leave behind a good idea because a new one might come up. Trust me, pros leave the good ideas behind. Number 5, commit to the direction. I have seen so many fantastic actors lose a job because the director or the client gives a piece of direction and they don't take it enough. The audition room is not a time to play it safe, especially once you've been given new guidelines. So if the director asks you to go bigger, what they mean is they want you to commit further. They want to see more. They want to see if that can happen from you on the day. Don't be afraid to look stupid. Take the direction and do it. Another version is sometimes actors will get so stuck in their ways or so, like I said on the last point, attached to something that they really liked that they did, that they won't be able to get rid of it. They're so clinging to it that the director will give a new piece of information and they can't drop that enough to move in the direction of the new piece of information. So practice dropping your prior preparation and doing something totally new. This can be a really fun exercise if you're between auditions and you have a couple of actor friends. You guys can take turns giving each other totally random directions. If you're doing like a self-tape or if you're doing an audition or something like that, you can have your partner just give you a new piece of direction and then you have to practice rolling with it, seeing how you can do that. Because it really is a muscle that can be practiced. It's the ability to make a strong choice fast. It's the ability to commit to it fully. And it's the ability to have amnesia about what you've just done and instead focus on what's been asked of you. If a director gives you a piece of information or a new direction that you don't fully understand, you can absolutely clarify, here's how you do it. You say, thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. Don't fight the direction. They're the director. Just yes, absolutely. Let's say you're confused. You say, so just to clarify, I was interpreting that, meaning their direction, as this. Is that right? Or is there something else I should add in? What this does is it says you're collaborative. Instead of just going, what do you mean? You are offering a solution and you're offering it in your own words. So it's a chance for you to potentially speak the same language, especially if the way they offered it to you didn't quite land. Still give your best guess. There was something up my roof just then. I don't know what it was. Okay, back on it. Yeah, be prepared to give your best guess. So you will look better, even if you're wrong, for having tried than you will if you just say, I don't get it, or what, or anything like that. You want to be a pleasure. You want to be collaborative. Ask the question by providing a solution. And then at the end of the day, jump into it. And even if you get it wrong, they can correct you. They can be like, oh, well, no, that actually was not what I meant. Here is what I meant. But try. Going for it and failing also makes a better impression on us as casting, because even if you go for it and we all go, yeah, no, that was wrong, or yeah, no, you're not quite right for this, the people who go for it stick out in our memory, because when we have a casting that is looking for something specific, we think about those people who are hyper-specific, who brought big commitment, who brought the ability to take direction and run with it. We think of those people first. So you will get yourself higher on our mental Rolodex of people who we remember who were fantastic if you go for it and if you try unapologetically. So don't be afraid to do that. Okay, those are some of my favorite tips for how to elevate your auditions, how to make casting directors love you, and how to improve your relationship with people who are on the other side of the camera. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you like this kind of stuff, please feel free to subscribe, follow along, and if you have any additional questions that you want me to answer privately, my email is in the description below. Thanks.